Good evening and welcome to the hour dedicated to talking about all things strange, weird, and paranormal. You're listening to Strange Talk, broadcasting on 1660 AM in Northside, 91.7 FMHD2 WVXU in Cincinnati. We're also streaming at radioartifact.com around the entire planet Earth. The intro track to this episode, and most of our episodes, is the Strange Talk intro by Star Silk. I'm your host, Alyx, and we have a very special guest today if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Mike. I have a show called The Witching Hour. It's on WAIF 88.3 FM in Cincinnati. It's on Thursday mornings from 2 to 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. You can listen traditionally on your radio dial. You can get on waifradio.org and you can listen to it from anywhere in the world.
Exactly. I genuinely love that your show is so similar to ours and like also on the radio, because I think you of all people understand. Some people are like, oh, it's a podcast. I'm like, no, it's still a radio show. It's different. Yeah. It's kind of the same, but different.
And like I was saying earlier, it's live radio. So if you make a mistake, or we do have a 7-second delay, but if they're going to say something obscene or stupid, it's still going to slip by, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or if you, like I was talking earlier, if you bring a record in and it skips, you're going to hear the skip. The CD's going to skip. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear it skip.
Yeah, you will
hear
every noise.
We've got so, but that's live radio. Sometimes you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I still like bringing old school vinyl in sometimes.
I love vinyl.
I like bringing in old cassettes sometimes. But I may start doing more digital stuff so that stuff doesn't happen, because it's kind of embarrassing that you got a song on a CD, like I was saying earlier, it plays great in your car all week. You bring it there and halfway you're maybe getting something to drink and you're hearing it skip. You got to come by and turn it off. And so it doesn't happen often, but sometimes, live radio just kind of catches you by surprise sometimes.
Yeah. And that's kind of the fun of it is, well, it's all live. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Anything could go wrong.
Yeah. I've had the show now. It's been about 5 months. I started, my first show was November 29th, 2024. So I'm almost at 6 months. And I try to have a different paranormal theme every week. Like it could be ghosts this week. And even more specific, it could be like a haunting in Connecticut. It could be the Amityville Horror. Then the next week it could be on Ouija boards. The next week it could be on the Mothman.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't have, if I can, if I'm busy at work that week, I just may play music. I try to play as much esoteric music as possible. I play mainstream from Kiss, Motley Crue, AC/DC, the usual kind of bands, the Twin Temple, Satanic, and King Diamond. I've played, I do, mostly it's 99% paranormal, but sometimes just to kind of shake it up, I will do a true crime theme, like I did Jim Jones and a couple shows on that whole situation.
Yeah.
People are free to call in. I've had some friends call in and talk about their ghost stories. If anybody's listening, if they have a story on, if they thought they'd seen a UFO or they thought they'd seen a Bigfoot, they can call in and talk about it too.
Yeah. I think that's what I love the most about having it be radio is the getting those call-ins, getting those weird interactions. We haven't.
Oh yeah, you get some strange people calling in at 3 or 4 in the morning too.
Yeah, you got the true night shift there.
Yeah, because you've got either like people that work third shift, police officers, correction officers, factory workers, or just people that are just up all night. I've had some pretty odd people asking me really odd questions. And something doesn't have to do with the paranormal. Like
they're just like, "What socks are you wearing right now?"
Yeah, or what's my last name? Where do I work? And it's like, had nothing to do with the show. But that's half the fun is getting those type of strange people that are listening to this little, because WAIF's a community-based radio station. It's very, they kind of play stuff you're not going to hear on the regular radio. Like they play like, it's heavy metal, it's like really dark, black heavy metal, Cajun music. They got one on Asian affairs. They've got shows on the gay and lesbian community. They've got shows on the blues, but it's mostly stuff you're not going to hear on top 40 radio.
Yes.
The people that are listening are kind of left to center anyway. So if you're listening to a paranormal show, you can kind of imagine the phone calls I do get, especially that time slot on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning from 2 to 4 a.m. When sometimes when they call, they ask stuff that has nothing to do with the paranormal. Like, so I call and ask me how old I was or where I worked. Stuff that I like the calls because they're bizarre, but yeah.
But it's also like, why do you want that information?
Yeah, it's very odd, and I'll give them because I have an alias. I call myself Michael Midnight. That's my pseudonym.
Amazing.
I try to get too personal.
Yeah.
As far as my personal information, but yeah, some of those calls are kind of wacky, and I grew up being an Art Bell junkie when I was first got out of high school. I worked a lot of third shift jobs, like doing like security back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, before flip phones. I just brought a little transistor radio in and would listen to him to help the night go by.
Yeah, me.
My own paranormal show was like, that's kind of like, even though I don't get paid, it's just a volunteer, something I do for fun.
Yeah.
That's the closest I can get to being like George Norrie or Art Bell.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's how we started doing this show. Before we were on radio, back when Art Bell briefly came back on air to do Dark Matter on Sirius XM, me and my buddy, we were like, man, I don't really want to pay for Sirius XM. We were like, I bet we can stream it on the internet. So we found a way to stream it on the internet at the time. And then we were like, what if we did like a little pre-show? And so we started doing that for fun and did that for a while until that went off the air. And then it wasn't long after that went off the air that Radio Artifacts started up and they were looking for people to do shows. And I was like, we've already been doing this, why not? So that's how we ended up, was directly that path line of it was Art Bell's fault.
Yeah. And I think that's everybody's kind of gateway drug into the paranormal back in the 90s before like all the ghost hunting shows came in the early 2000s and before the internet really kicked in. A lot of the stuff paranormal wise is Art Bell kind of, I think, got everybody's kind of toes wet into that field.
Yeah.
Yeah, and WAIF's no different. When you get on your website, they'll say, hey, do you have a show? You download a proposal. And that's what I did. I've been listening to WAIF off and on for like 35 years. There's always some type of show just going to spark my interest. I said, I've always liked the paranormal, always liked the radio. Maybe I can combine them. So yeah, again, even though it's I don't get paid, it's just a volunteer radio station, kind of like a public access in the radio world.
Yeah,
it's still not easy to get a show.
That's pretty similar to how we operate.
Yeah, so and WAIF gets tons of submissions. So the first time, like I said, it's kind of daunting because you got to actually send a CD or an MP3 with your voice. They want to see how your voice sounds. You got to tell them about your show. Can you get sponsors for your show? And you got to meet a committee. And when I went to meet a committee, it was people like, I'm telling them about Satanism. My show's going to have witchcraft. This and looks I got, it was a very, then like 2 or 3 days later, I got an email. No, they shot it down pretty quick.
They're like, who is this lunatic?
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I was dressed normal. I don't have blue hair. I don't have tattoos. I have,
I have blue hair and tattoos, so no one was surprised.
Yeah. So I was like as straight laced during that meeting as possible. I wore a polo shirt. I shaved my beard. I had khakis on. I am talking about Anton LaVey, Gavin Frost, the Mothman, and they just, the way they were looking at me, you would just think my head was on fire.
They were like, does he have 2 or 3 heads right now?
Yeah. And about 3 days later, I get an email. Unfortunately, they decided not to go with your show, which I was disappointed in because the whole point of the station is with people with divergent points of view.
Yeah.
And you can't get more divergent than the paranormal.
If you want the weird stuff, you gotta let the weird stuff happen in the show, like on the.
Yeah, exactly. But about 6 months later, I got a random email from the director, like, hey man, I really like your show. I pulled some strings and you got me on, and I've been on for almost 6 months now.
Yeah, no, that's great. I it was not as difficult for us because our radio station, obviously, Radio Artifact runs out of Urban Artifact, so being a brewery, they were way more cool with it being just weird. Yeah. Also, it was pirate radio at first, so we got away with being a lot more weird at first. And we've toned it back maybe a little bit. We've polished the weird. I'll say we've polished the weird.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons they put me on so late at 2 to
yeah.
4, because you're kind of way out. That's a true witching hour, though. The show is called The Witching Hour, and that's pretty much the hours. I'm about it's as deep center field as you can get for a radio show time-wise.
Oh, absolutely. I think our first time slot was like 11 p.m., something like that. We requested that, though. We wanted like kind of as late as night as they would let us into the studio, because I think sort of our early morning hours, I think, is all automated, but at least as far as I know, I haven't been actually up to the actual station in a while now. I should stop up there soon. But yeah. Yeah,
and the ironic part is the show that follows me is a gospel show.
Yeah.
So you're going from hearing Anton LaVey to a gospel station right after me, so it's
you listen to all the devil music and now you got to get it out of you.
Yeah, so it's so it definitely does, the station does play just about any off-center topic you can think of, which is that's the whole point of that type of the community radio, is to have something you're not going to hear on Top 40.
Exactly. All the fun weird stuff, all the good local stuff.
Yeah, and radio is kind of dying out. Like when I was, growing up, there was no podcast. So radio was so strong back then. I mean, AM and FM. Yeah. And it's kind of a shame. I mean, there's a station in New Jersey that's community that's really out there, even more extreme than WAIF. I forgot the name of it. They're a great radio station, but they're starting with podcasts, and you're starting to have, the radio's kind of dying out. I hope it makes a resurgence because I've always loved the radio. I
kind of think it is, honestly. Like, I kind of already think it is making a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, I hope so, because like I was saying, when I was a kid, I used to love getting on AM radio on the weekends at 2 a.m, and I'm in Cincinnati, but I'm picking up Chicago, Dallas, Michigan. And I've always been even with CB radios, my mom and dad would have a CB radio in the car and play around on it. Anything with the radio waves is always just ham radios. That's one goal I want, is to get a ham radio license. Maybe the anonymity to it is what appeals to me.
Yes.
Because nobody knows what you look like. You're kind of a shadow yourself.
Well, it's like it's literally getting to dive into the unknown through the airwaves. And that's super fun.
Yeah, and being with WAIF, because if you get on the internet, you could be in Australia and listen to my show. You can be in Canada. It's all over the world. Like I was saying, some DJs from other shows would tell me, somebody called me from Toronto. We're this little station in Cincinnati. Or somebody called me from North Carolina today. Or somebody called me from San Bernardino, California. So that's the good thing about having it stream online, is that somebody could just be playing on the radio one night
and just happen upon it
in Mexico and happen to listen to your station.
Yeah, exactly. That's oh man, did you ever watch that old sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati?
Oh yeah, yeah.
The theme song when he's talking about up and down the dial, like, I don't know, there's something really just true about that. Like, you can just cruise through all the different dial stations until you find something that lands. Hopefully it's not ads.
I found WAIF.
What's up?
Hopefully it's not ads.
Yeah.
That's how I found WAIF when I was a teenager. Yeah, Saturday night, 2 or 3 in the morning, me and my buddy are up, watch Headbangers Ball on MTV is off. We're just flipping through the radio, and we just happen to hear some kind of really obscure heavy metal. And I was like, man, you don't hear this on the more mainstream radio stations. And they're like, what's this WAIF? This is I forgot what the show's name was, but it was heavy metal, and that's how I even found out about the radio station that I'm on now. I found them 35 years ago. Yeah, just playing with the dial one night and just found the station.
Yeah.
Same thing with Art Bell. One night I'm at work and I'm flipping through the channel.
Happened to get the right thing. Yeah. Something about Bigfoot. I'm like, Bigfoot. And because back in like 93, 94, 95, you didn't know what Art Bell looked like. No, yeah.
This guy's voice somewhere in the Rockies, and he's talking about EVPs. I said, what's an EVP? And then you're hearing these ghost voices. So that's what I always liked about the radio. You just never know what you're going to get on the radio back then.
Exactly. And stumbling upon that was like truly magical.
Yeah, because you found something kind of cool and obscure. It's like, it's like discovering some like punk band that nobody's ever heard of. It's kind of like that too. To find something that's kind of off the beaten path. So I would get cassettes, put them in the stereo, and record any kind of weird radio show. And if you could call in, I would call in and because I loved hearing my voice on the radio. And if I could call in, even request a song. Like back then, you'd call those oldie shows on the radio and ask for some old song just to hear my voice on the radio.
Yeah. It's so funny to me because like I definitely was like too nervous to ever call in back then, and now I'm just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, that's what I like about my show. I can combine the radio and the paranormal, two things I really like.
Yeah,
I can combine them because my original goal with the paranormal was to write a book.
Yeah,
it seems like everybody and their brother has written a book now. I can't think of a silly topic to write about like back in the late '90s when I would go to bookstores. I would just look at a cover, kind of like somebody would go to a record store and look at a cover of a band and just decide to buy the record and take a chance. I would look at a book, Egyptian Magic. Okay, $6, I'm gonna buy it. The book may or not be, maybe good, may not, but $6-7, I'll gamble it.
Right, exactly.
That's when bookstores were really popular back in the day, when people still went to bookstores. And Cincinnati still had a mix of mainstream bookstores, little mom and pop bookstores. And that was my original goal, was to have a book on the paranormal. But that's right before the explosion of the ghost hunter shows. And like I said, with the Frogman Festival, it's become a lot more mainstream than it was in the early 90s or to early 2000s when I wanted to write a book, because every topic I could think of, like I used to be a correction officer, I'll write a book. Even haunted jails, probably 15 books on haunted jails. Every kind of topic I thought about, there's 10, 15 books on it. So
I mean, I'm just saying though, we could always use more books about that.
Yeah, and I still had that in the back of my mind too, to maybe write a book. But as far as now, since my radio show, I can combine both interests, radio and the paranormal.
Exactly.
And kind of combine it in one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Radio especially just seems, I don't know, spookier to me. I mean, something about, your voice is being flung through the airwaves. It's going through buildings, through people. Your voice is basically like a ghost going through walls.
Exactly. And I'm at the station alone. So there is somebody there. Like, I get there about 1:30 set up. There is a DJ got his own show. He leaves. Yeah. And the other DJ comes in about 3:45. So about an hour and a half, you're totally alone talking about ghosts and by yourself at a radio station. There's no other staff there. You're completely by yourself from like 2 a.m. to about 3:45 a.m.
And then you start hearing like the door creak
Yeah,
open.
yeah, because it's not in the safest neighborhood where my radio show is. So you'll see somebody randomly walk. Because if you come up like the little catwalk, you can actually see the DJ talking. It's kind of neat. When you walk there, you can actually see the person with the headphones on talking. But it is a pretty secure building.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like I said, the weather's been horrible in Cincinnati. So there's times I've driven when we had the bad snow. I've driven when we had last week, 2 weeks ago, there was flood warnings.
Yeah, tornadoes.
So that kind of adds to it when you got the thunder and lightning or the snow outside. Because we can see the video cameras in the parking lot and stuff. But yeah, to be by yourself at like Thursday morning for 2 hours that late at night talking about Satanism, it definitely can, you don't know what you're conjuring up there being alone and talking about those kind of topics.
So,
but you're right, it is kind of like spooky because especially now that it's on the internet. Now somebody, in Florida could just happen to just like you said, just just be bored when I flipping through it and you catch my show.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's funny that you say that too. So, Radio Artifact is out of an old church, and so where the audio booth is, part of why I stopped recording there is because we had what we called gremlins, and like the doors would just like fly open all the time by themselves and stuff. So we are pretty sure that building is haunted. And I'm like, that's great, but I don't want you to haunt me while I'm actively recording and trying to talk to someone.
Yeah. If you want your attention, wait a half hour before, a half hour after the show's gone.
Yeah.
Done.
Ghosts come talk to me when I'm alone recording, not when I've got a guest here and then you're like just knocking microphones over and stuff. Like, come on. Don't be rude, ghosts.
And you got FCC rules that every hour you got to announce the station identification.
Yes. Yep.
And here we have to do what they call two PSAs and a promo. So we'll do a promo of a show. Like, hey, I'll pick out, hey, Disco, there's Disco Dave, and we'll talk about their show.
Yeah.
We'll do 2 PSAs. So we got to do that at the top of the hour because that's FCC regulations.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have to make sure nobody drops the F-bomb, in an FCC show. So you also got to be really cognizant of that too when you're on the radio live. Even with that said, like I said, even with our delay, people can still slip in stuff.
They can.
Enough.
Yeah. That is the main reason I decided to pre-record is it's just way too easy to get past that.
Yeah, and I do take a risk of having strangers call in my show because I don't know who's calling in.
I think being like that 2 a.m. slot, would you fall under the safe harbor hours?
They told me that they said do it at your own risk.
Yeah, I think that's kind of yeah.
Yeah, that's what they told me during training. Yeah, that 2 to 4 is kind of that gray area that if some obscene material does make it through,
it's not as big of a deal.
You may not.
Yeah,
you're taking the risk regardless.
Right.
And it's going to be less of a consequence if somebody did get on the air and say the F word.
Yeah.
If somebody just got you on at 2 p.m.
Right.
So they said just do it at your. Basically, I was told do it at your own risk.
They said good luck.
Yeah. So, but I try to have friends calling. Like I said, a friend of mine who's really big into ghost hunting. Her and her sister, they go to like the Waverly, the Mansfield prison.
Yeah.
They got all the equipment you could think of. And she came on a couple weeks ago for about an hour, talked about, a lot of places that she investigated throughout like Cincinnati and just outside of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool because like I said, a lot of people would tell me, yeah, man, I got a Bigfoot story. I'll give you a call. Even though I got to go to work the next day, I'll set my alarm clock, give you a call, never hear from them.
Yeah. Yep.
So, those hours, or I've had some ghost hunting clubs. Oh, I'd love to come on your show. It's 2 to 4 a.m. You never hear from them again.
I mean, that's like prime ghost hunting time, though, too.
Yeah, you would think that would entice them. It's like you're doing it every week. It's kind of a one and done thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could sacrifice a little sleep.
Yeah.
But they'll say, yeah, you know, what time is it? Thursday morning, 2 to 4 a.m. And all of a sudden you just never hear nothing back. Besides you, when I reached out to you, you did, but even a couple of people at that Broadman Festival told me they wanted to come on the show. But when I told them the hours, I never heard nothing back from them.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mention any names or incriminate the guilty, so.
I mean, I guess this isn't on your show, so if you want to call them out, here would be the place to do it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it was a guy, Michael Thompson. I think that was his name. He had a booth there like you guys did.
Oh, yeah, he's an author.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, I'd love to be on your show. He did email correspondence,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, okay, what time is it? 2 to 4 a.m. Thursday mornings. And he writes me back, well, I'm not doing any shows now. I said, you literally just told me you wanted to be on my show
Oh, no.
4 hours ago. I said, you know, I understand it's not the best hours, man. Just say you don't want to do it because of the hours. To give me a real generic, well, I'm not doing, like he's in some demand. New York Times best-selling author. So that kind of got on my nerves because if you don't want to do it because of the hours, I get it. A lot of my friends told me I'd love to call your show, but I just, you know, with work, I can't really afford to get up in the middle of the night and go to work. You know?
Yeah.
So I kind of get that. But to tell me you want to do it, when I tell you the hours, to kind of flake out on me with a real generic, I'm not doing, like, you're such in demand, like, give me a break. And just 3 hours before that, you told me you're all ready to and ready to do it. You got all this stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
And I tell you the hours, you actually tell me I'm not doing radio shows now, like I'm hounding you or something. So that was really that really turned me off. I wish I could have there was one person there at the booth. I really wanted to buy her book. I forgot her name, but she wrote a book. It had the Mothman kind of with there's a book on Interpol and Woodrow Durenberger. There is some connection to the Mothman.
Uh-huh.
When I went there, her book was sold out.
Oh, no.
I forgot her name, but she had a booth there. She was a super nice lady.
I'm
I did
trying to
get that
think of who
book
that
from
was.
Amazon.
I'm trying to think who that was because I took pictures of everyone there, so I would be like, I know who I talked to.
I forgot her name, but man, I think just go ahead and order that book. I went there to buy that book too. I was really disappointed that because I just went on Sunday. I didn't go on Saturday.
Gotcha, yeah.
I just went on Sunday and I got to meet, like I said, I met Jeff Wamsley 15, 16 years ago when I went to Point Pleasant. But he was pretty cool. He talked to me for about 15 minutes at the booth, autographed the book I bought. Then sitting, had his, I guess the auditorium when he had his, presentation. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And like I said, I went to Point Pleasant. I'd never been to the festival because even going to the Broadman Festival, it was packed. But I get social anxiety at times, and going down there, I heard there were so many people there. I went randomly in 2006. And there was a friend of mine, his son, my brother, and we went to the Mothman Museum. This is when Jeff Wamsley was still there doing the day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Harris Steakhouse. And I know the Harris Steakhouse is closed. Then we went to the TNT area, and I remember getting a couple of rocks and taking them home.
Yeah.
I went there the next year with my little brother. Me and him went, but we spent the night this time at the Low Hotel, which they say is haunted. I actually bought a book. They had books for sale in the lobby at that time back in 2007.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody wrote a book on the Low Hotel and all the hauntings. I didn't experience anything, but that's the thing that people don't understand. Just because you don't experience something doesn't mean a place isn't haunted.
Right, exactly.
That's what I never said about these ghost hunting shows. They go somewhere, they're there for maybe 2 days. Well, we didn't see anything, and the light that you said you seen, we've seen that light reflected from cars. Like they just wrapped it up. Like
it's all done.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's done. And but you could go there. I could go there 100 times, never see anything. You go there one night and you see an apparition. And hear 15 EVPs.
Right.
It's just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Spirits are attracted to different things. Maybe the energy you're bringing, it's at least to the spirits. They don't want to deal with you. And somebody, like I said, comes in one time and has all these sightings. It's so many things that it's involved that you just never know. But to go to a house and just, we were here for an hour. We were here for 5-6 hours. We didn't see anything. So it's not haunted. Or
just call it a day.
or we debunked your evidence. And I understand a lot of those shows aren't real. A lot of that's scripted as hell. So I get that.
I mean,
but yes,
there's no way those ghost hunters get lucky on every single investigation, you know?
No. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I've been interested in the paranormal. Like I said, my kid's birthday, with my birthday money, I bought a Ouija board.
Yeah.
So I've always had an interest, but I've only had a handful of situations that may not even be paranormal, but I think they are.
Yeah.
So you're right. So you got a show on whatever channel, and every place you go to, somebody pushed you, an unseen entity pushed you, or you go home and there's 15 EVPs, and I'm 50 and I've had a handful of experiences that may not even be paranormal, but I think they are. But you're having situations every episode.
Yeah, exactly. I guess
I do, and I think to a certain extent, some people I guess are more open to the paranormal than others.
For sure.
And sometimes it's just luck. It's just luck. I mean, you may go to a house that's haunted, and the first time you've been there, you may experience something.
Yeah.
And if, like I said, another person's been there 100 times, never seen anything.
Yeah.
A lot of it could be just the luck of the draw, the timing. You may have went, if a spirit died on April 14th, you don't know that. You go on April 14th and you see something.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. These shows that see something every week is absurd.
Yeah. There's just no way. I mean, that's why I kind of understand Zach Bagans, his approach to being like, I'll fight you, ghost. I mean, I guess if you really want to see a ghost, you might as well antagonize it, but it just also seems like a very bad idea.
Well, and like I used to love the original Ghost Hunters with Cap's team.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not putting Grant or Jason down, but at the end of the day, they're plumbers, not scientists.
Yeah.
You know, so not that you have to be a scientist to know about ghosts or anything, but I'd rather have somebody that knows really about electromagnetic fields and radiation that's actually trained in that, not, you know, somebody that knows very superficial information on it, because they always try to debunk it, or they almost were kind of snide and arrogant, telling people, well, you know, these sounds you think you're hearing, it's just a flooding.
Yeah.
Or the lights that you see. What we looked at, and you're off the highway, so you're seeing like lights on the expressway, and they didn't really antagonize it like Zach does, but they were so like, they always when they're trying to debunk it. So you already got that in your mind, and where you're going is not haunted anyway. Like there's one extreme to the other, where one, there's ghosts around every corner, the other extreme, there's no ghost at all. Like kind of be in the middle, like kind of open mind. It may be, we'll find out to the best of our knowledge or ability.
Yeah.
So after a while, I just quit watching all those shows. When they first came out, I was addicted to them because you never seen that before.
Yeah, it was super fun.
And you would see like on like the History Channel, they would do a documentary of some castle that was haunted in the 1800s. That's the most you've seen back then. So when these ghost shows came out, yeah, they were entertaining, but then they got so over the top. And every cable channel started to have a ghost hunting show because they're pulling in the ratings. That they just oversaturated the market, where you just went a while, you just got burnt out on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think kind of early 2000s, 2010s was the peak of all of that. When all the other paranormal stuff was popping off.
Yeah, 2004, 2005 is when I remember watching I think that's when the ghost with the twin taps. I think that's when it first came out on the Sci-Fi Channel, and I would DVR it every Wednesday night because I'd worked third shifts. I had to watch it when I got home. Mm-hmm. But you're right, because that show was because I don't think they expected it to be as popular as it was. Well, with other TV, channels see, well, this is popular, they're going to get their own ghost hunting show. Then they're going, it kind of peaked 2012, 2013, where everywhere you had Paranormal State, you had all these different shows, and they got cornier and cornier every new show.
Yeah.
Like I remember they had a show, I think it was called Hillbilly Ghost Hunters.
I don't know.
And they had like these guys these guys like in the woods. They weren't even in haunted houses. They were like in the woods.
Just in the woods. Yep, that is exactly what it was called. 2015.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had a guy that acted like a real tough guy. He was head of security. It's like, me and this ghost, we're gonna have a little talk. Like, how are you gonna hurt a ghost? Like, he was acting like he was like some kind of ninja Green Beret.
I'm a
like, me and this
fisticuffs ghosts in the parking lot.
Yeah. So it just got so cheesy that I just quit watching all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I guess the problem was the competition just got too much, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because you gotta outdo the next man.
Yeah, which means you gotta get more and more ridiculous.
Yeah, so if this particular show is showing people get pushed by an unseen force, we gotta, even go further where they're getting like a broken arm or something. Yeah, so it just got so, just got, every time there's something that brings popularity, it's going to get oversaturated. That could be music too. You mean like, I remember when grunge came out with Nirvana and Pearl Jam, it was cool.
Yeah.
You didn't really hear nothing like that at the time. But then since it got popular, every band came out sounded like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, so you just got sick of listening to it. Yeah. And that's kind of how these ghost hunting shows came out. There were so many of them that you just got sick of the subject. It was it went from being kind of obscure to being so mainstream. It's like, I may like spaghetti, but I don't want to eat it 7 days a week.
Right, that's exactly.
Some of this ghost hunting stuff, God, I kind of drifted away from the paranormal for about 4 or 5 years because I was so burnt out on it. Then I kind of got back into it a few years ago. Yeah. Because it went, like I said, when I was a kid, I'd buy books on witchcraft, and my mom and dad thought I was nuts.
Yeah, just whatever you could find.
You go to a mall 10, 15 years later, and there's 14-year-old girls that tell you they're Wiccans. It went from one extreme to the other. Mm-hmm. Where back late 80s, early 90s, if you told somebody, hey, I like witchcraft, or I'm interested in Satanism or UFOs, they looked at you sideways to where you got like mall rats telling you that they can cast spells on you. It went from I just never thought the paranormal would get as mainstream as it did.
Yeah. It really just I can't pinpoint exactly what caused it. I mean, Mothman was a big part of it. The ghost hunting shows was a big part of it.
And the movie was great. I really did like the movie, the Mothman movie. Yeah, obviously it was loosely based on John Keel's book, but I thought Richard Gere was great in that movie. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a spooky movie, but like I said earlier, I remember reading the Mothman prophecies. A friend got it and let me borrow it, and this is back in 1999, about 2-3 years before the Mothman movie came out. Yeah. And that movie came out, and you're right, the Mothman went from like, unless you were into John Keel or his books, you really didn't really hear about it, but that movie really, the Mothman, like, I think Jeff Wamsley said that one of those festivals, there was 10,000 people there. Mm-hmm.
I think, let's see, that was last year or the year before, something like that. Mothman Festival only gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and I've been to Point Pleasant, never at the festival, and it's not a big town. It's not a big city.
It's a very, very small town.
Many people. Yeah, so they had that many people there, but if you went, like when I went, I'm sure if you went to Point Pleasant in 1997, there'd be nobody down there.
First time I went was in 2017, and you could lay down in the middle of the main road and not have to worry about getting hit by a car.
Yeah, and that's how it was when I went in 2006. We went to the Mothman Museum. Mm-hmm. Jeff was a super nice guy. Yeah. And then we went to the Harris Steakhouse. That was it. There was nothing else to do. Yeah. So we went to the TNT area, took some pictures, and went home. I went back the next year, went to the Lowe Hotel. Me and my brother stayed up all night trying to find something, trying to hear something, didn't hear anything, and had to drive home in like 2 hours of sleep. Back up to Cincinnati.
Yep, that is exactly what I did. I think we stopped by Huntington on the way back just to see what fun stuff we could find there, but yeah.
We stopped at the Indian or Serpent Mounds. We stopped.
Oh yeah, the Serpent Mounds are super cool.
Yeah, so we stopped there and on the way back. Mm-hmm. And I was gonna go, like I said, this year I was gonna go back down there because the Boston Museum does tours now. You'll get on a van and they'll take you there to the TNT area. But then I seen the Frogman Festival was at a record store. They had like a little flyer.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, that's 30 minutes for me compared to 3.5 hours. So I went to the Frogman Festival instead.
Yeah.
And I was surprised how packed it was. I didn't expect to see that many people and to see, like I was saying, 13, 14-year-old kids with their moms and dads all into the
all dressed as frogs.
Like that. Yeah, but when I was 13 or 14, I mentioned anything esoteric. My mom and dad thought I had a mental illness. It's kind of cool to see that acceptance now.
Yeah.
Where back then you were just looked at as a total freak.
Yeah. This was the first year as a 2-day festival too, so it was really cool. Sunday wasn't quite as busy as Saturday. Saturday got overwhelming at points.
Yeah, I didn't go on Saturday. I knew I could only go to one with my budget. I knew I wanted to buy some stuff. And when I seen that Jeff Walmsley was going to be there on Sunday, that's when I went. Yeah,
you made a good call. I think Sunday was still packed, but not as packed. It was calmer. It was fun both days, though.
Yeah, like I said, I was surprised to see that many booths there.
Mm-hmm.
I seen you had people at radio stations, podcasts, authors. There was a lot of people that were selling books there that wrote books, and they had a little tiny food court. So yeah, it was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. I thought you'd have a handful of people there. I wasn't expecting that big of a
Everyone.
crowd. Like the Frogman, I did hear bits and pieces about, but not much. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot. But it was a paranormal festival, that was close to me, so I went to it, and I was
exactly.
really, like I said, shocked because I remember reading about the Frogman, but there wasn't a whole lot to read. There was just a couple of sightings, I think, so it wasn't.
Yeah,
like
there were some old
legacy.
sightings back in the 50s. And then the main sightings that most people talk about are the sightings in the 80s that a couple of cops saw it, and then they got made fun of a whole bunch. So then they went, "Oh no, it was an iguana," and we shot it.
Yeah, it was missing the tail or something.
Yeah,
and they said about the Mothman, they brought like some type of animal expert in, and he just said it was a sandhill crane.
Yeah,
people were idiots for thinking it was paranormal.
I mean, everybody's always looking for an explanation, and it's always a weather balloon or bears or a sandhill crane or a tailless iguana. Who knows? Giant gorilla.
Yeah, it's never nothing paranormal. Yeah, it's always, you always misidentified it, but I mean,
which can happen, but
sure, yeah, you could. I mean, I've seen in Kentucky. I used to work at this boys' home down in Burlington, Kentucky, and I've seen some of those turkey vultures.
Oh yeah,
it looked like they could lift a kid up.
Absolutely, yes.
We had this boys' home that was deep down in Burlington, so the kids wouldn't run. So you put them down in this like kind of middle of nowhere. And I came out on the porch one morning. I used to work third shift, and I seen this turkey vulture. It looked like that thing could take a little kid and fly off with it. So yeah, I'm sure that you could. If you're in the woods one time and you see something that big. You don't know what it is. So yeah, you could misidentify anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I always try to stay in the middle. I think when it comes to the paranormal, you have a lot of times two extremes. Like there's people that don't believe in any of it. It's all crap. It's all made up.
Skeptics.
But then you got people I call true believers. If they hear a creak in their apartment, it's the devil.
Yes.
You get, and I try to be in the middle. I do believe there's something out there, but I don't know for sure. Like the experiences I've had, I think they're paranormal, but I'm not 100%.
Right. Well, and I'm also...
I try to be objective.
I'm open to it being something, and I'm also open to me just having no idea what's going on. Like, I would say, skeptical believer of, I believe there's something. Do I know what it is? No. Did I maybe misunderstand the situation? Totally. Who knows?
Yeah. But, like, I got a cousin. She thinks everything's haunted.
Yeah.
Like every house she goes to is haunted. Everything is haunted. She hears something. Oh, I heard somebody whispering one night. It's everything. Like she has no objective ability at all. It's everything's a ghost.
Yeah.
But then my dad was a total atheist. You're dead.
Yeah.
There's no ghost. There's no devil. There's no witchcraft.
There's nothing.
None of that exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I consider myself to be in the middle.
Yeah. That's where I'm at, and I think that's kind of like the most, I don't know, rational place to be at, because, I mean, you can't explain everything. I mean, yet. I mean, maybe we'll get there one day, but as of right now, we can't explain everything. So you got to leave room for the paranormal.
The only experience that I've ever had where I have absolutely no explanation for is when I still lived at home with my parents. My brother was quite younger than me. And when he was 7 or 8, he loved to jump up and down on my mom's mattress. That makes a very distinctive sound.
Yes.
So I was at home alone, and my mom and dad and my little brother came back from the grocery store. And my brother would love to run upstairs and just start jumping up and down in the bed while we're putting groceries in. So my mom, I think, had bought some like Burger King for dinner. So, like, we could hear my brother up and down, jumping up and down on the mattress. My mom said, "Go get your brother. Tell me to get off my bed and come down and eat."
Yeah.
Walk upstairs, go to her bedroom. There's nobody in there. So I'm walking back down the steps to get to the living room. He's coming through the front door. So there's obviously no way that was him.
Yeah.
Because when I was walking up the steps, because I was walking up the steps to get to my mom's bedroom, I could hear him jumping. You can hear somebody jumping up and down on that mattress. So then when I came back down the steps, he's coming through the front door. So it wasn't him. So something was making that sound. That's the only, and I'm 50, and I said that's the only thing in my entire life is somebody who does really into the paranormal that I have no explanation.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But there's people, like I said, that have a paranormal experience every other day.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know if it's those people draw things in or if they're just too willing to believe that anything's paranormal. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and it could be a little bit of both. You're right. I think some people are more susceptible to paranormal entities interacting with them, and some people are just paranoid, or they want to be special. Exactly, they got some special gift. So I think it's a little bit of both. I do believe, like you said, I do believe that there are people that are haunted. You know, like I seen a great movie. It's like 20 years ago. It was on the Sundance Channel. I don't know the name of it. You just see this woman walking around, and you see this guy following her all through some foreign movie. The guy's following her all through the movie. You think he's gonna rape her, kill her. Finally, she turns around and says, "Leave me alone." And they do a flashback. These people were engaged. It was like a man and a woman that were engaged. They get into an argument. She goes and gets into a cab. The cab crashes. A woman dies. So she's a ghost. He's living, but he's haunting the living. That was one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. I could just never find the name to it. Yeah. I know Nicole Kidman did a movie like that, I think called The Others. Similar, but this movie I thought was a lot better because, you see this guy following her all around, and he was haunting a ghost. That really kind of flipped the script totally. And I think some people can do that. I think some people can maybe haunt ghosts instead of the other way around, but I think it's few and far between. And I think the people that talk about it all the time are probably the ones that aren't being very honest.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it can't be haunted all of the time.
No.
Would be fun if it was.
Yeah. But I do, like I said, I just try to stay in the middle. I definitely, if I didn't have an interest in it, I wouldn't, or think it's real, I wouldn't be even having a show on the paranormals. I do think there is something to it.
Right, exactly.
I don't have any definitive proof it is.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the whole thing is it's searching for the truth, wherever that may be, or whether there is a natural cause or a supernatural cause.
Yeah, and I definitely believe there are supernatural causes out there, but you just have to be subjective about it. And that's the only thing. I love listening to EVPs, but when they tell you, hey, this says, "Hey, Joe," you're already mentally prepared for it to say, "Hey, Joe." Right,
exactly. I don't like people telling me what they think an EVP says before I listen to it, because I'm like, let me see what I hear. I feel like I am the most annoying person when it comes to people who are like, "Oh, let me show you this orb that I got a picture of." And like I was telling you before we started recording, like my degree's in film, so I look at that and I'm like, that is a smudge on your lens. That is hair or a bug or something. Like I know exactly what it is when I see that stuff. That's a lens flare. I can tell when it is actually something versus like whether it's possible or it's just that is dirt in your lens. And I feel like I feel so bad when I'm like, no, that's nothing.
That's the bad thing about technology now, because if you get on YouTube, and you'll see some of these ghost videos. Some of them are convincing,
Mm-hmm.
but more than likely they're doctored up in some form.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think and I'm sure that there could be a handful of real videos that are paranormal.
That probably got written
some
off.
of these YouTube channels, but then there's a lot of them that are fake. Like they'll have like a shoe move and somebody just got like a fishing line pulled.
Yeah, or somebody threw it off screen or whatever it is. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Some of those, like some of them are pretty scary. Like, and some of them, I think some of the scarier videos when you have these solo campers where they're going out in the middle of nowhere and there's some dude that comes up to them.
Yeah.
You know, you're out in the middle of Tennessee camping somewhere and there's just some strange man. But then again, that could be your brother. And you guys are just, that's the bad thing about social media now. You just never know what to believe.
Yeah.
Like even these prank videos when these guys are going around like pulling somebody's pants down in a mall, a lot of times it's their friend. It's not even a stranger.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing. It's been about, if you're trying to do any kind of paranormal research on the internet, so a lot of these videos are so fake. That's the bad thing about doing any internet research. And some of them are getting really good at faking it too, where it looks completely real.
Yeah. So that is the plus side, is that's where I can be like, yeah, no, I can tell that was, CGI or AI or whatever.
And if you're trained in film, you're gonna
you see it immediately. But it just makes me feel bad when people are like so excited to show me this. I'm like, that is so not real. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, because a lot of those orbs, they'll say it's like dust pollen or fly or
so many or lens flares. Like it's so many different causes, and I feel so bad when people show me those. Or I'm like, I'm so sorry. I know that that's not real, but you can totally keep believing it's real, and that's fine too.
Yeah, because I think the spookiest thing I've seen lately, and it is the Chris Watts case when the police were in there searching, and they picked up some EVPs. Now that whether those are real or not, I don't know. They sounded really scary.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see that on YouTube or not, or like you can hear somebody go, "This is our home." Or, and they were talking, that was pretty spooky. Whether it's real or not, I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that was because of what happened in that house. You're already kind of predetermined to think something's going to be spooky in there.
Yeah.
But I just remember seeing that, and so the way the police kind of even kind of freaked out and stuff while they're walking. But consider what happened to that house, you can see why you had those feelings within.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's probably one of the spookiest things I've seen lately. And again, is it true? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. That's one of those where you have to decide whether you want to believe or not, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I'm always of the mind, I want to believe until I'm shown evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, they because I think if you're going to do EVPs, you would think somebody would have went to maybe the World Trade Center or Columbine where there was tragedy, but you don't really see anybody with those kind of EVPs, and it's probably maybe respect to what happened at those places.
It could be.
People don't want to.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I've never thought to even look that up, because why would someone do that?
Yeah.
But
because you would think if you're going to go to some place that's haunted, I mean, something that's that tragic of both of those places, if there's going to be earthbound spirits, something that happens so fast and unexpected, but maybe because of the respect of those places, they just don't want to go that route.
That, for some reason, that just reminded me. Did you hear back in the day the woman who claimed that she was married to Michael Jackson's ghost?
Yeah, I did.
That just, when you said of being respectful of things, I was like, oh yeah, that was one of those that I was like, oh, that's just not cool. It's just not cool. I wonder what she's up to these days.
Especially if it's children. If children die, like in Columbine, they're obviously all kids. Well, there's a few adult teachers, but maybe most of them are underage. You don't maybe want to be respectful and don't want to disrespect the parents and the family by saying, hey, I got an EVP. And maybe somebody that died that was 15. I don't know, but I always thought that if there is ghosts that are trapped, some of those places would be prime if that does exist.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain levels of you want to be respectful, but also, you're looking for, answers. But yeah. Well, that is actually about at the top of the hour right there, so that's pretty perfect timing. So thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been super fun. It's just fun to talk radio with someone else who like understands radio.
Yeah,
it's a weird beast.
I've always, like I said, just having my show is a way to combine two things I really like: radio and paranormal.
Yes,
I can just combine them. But I've always, like I said, there's the anonymity to it because I have a Facebook page, but you don't see my face. I want to make it as, I guess, mysterious as possible. So on my Facebook page, because I know some DJs at the radio that when they get like they have their own show, they'll have like their Facebook page. You can see their face, their girlfriend, their husband. I wanted to keep mine as kind of mysterious, where I got a pseudonym. I don't see my real name.
Yeah,
I don't have a picture of it on there. I want to have some kind of like Kiss with the makeup. I want to have some kind of something mysterious about it. You just know my voice, and I said, but I've always liked any form of radio. I used to love playing on my mom and dad's CB radio. I've always anything because there's something, like you said, kind of creepy about just hearing a voice.
Yeah, this disembodied voice coming to tell you about ghosts.
Yeah, you don't know who they are, what they look like. You don't know their real name. Like I said, when I started listening to Coast to Coast, back then, I didn't know what George Norrie or Art Bell looked like. And I didn't know anything about their past. And I didn't want to. That was part of the coolness, is I didn't want to know that Art Bell was in the Air Force. I liked the anonymity. I just heard this voice while I was working third shift talking about Bigfoot. Yeah, exactly. And I kind of keep that vibe at my show. I don't, like I said, I have a radio name, and on my Facebook page, there's no pictures of me. I try to keep it kind of like back in the 70s or 80s when you really didn't know what DJs looked like outside of maybe Howard Stern. Whoever got popular enough to go on the late night talk shows, pretty much. But because back then you really didn't know what the DJs looked like. The internet didn't exist, so I wanted to kind of keep that kind of mystery, I guess. In my show. I think that's really fun. For a long time I didn't post any pictures on our page, and I don't really know when that changed, but I missed the mystery of it. It was fun. Yeah. Oh, do you want to remind people one more time when and where to listen to you? Yeah, it's called The Witching Hour. It's on WAIF 88.3 FM, Cincinnati, Ohio. Wednesday night into Thursday mornings from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. You can also listen anywhere in the world on WAIF.org. You can actually download the station. You can actually download the app to listen to the station. It's 99% paranormal. We'll shoot some true crime or conspiracies in there from time to time. I play a lot of music. I try to play esoteric music, but like I said, there's not a ton of it out there, but I try to play as much as I can get my hands on. Yeah, which I think is super cool. So everyone go support some more awesome local paranormal radio. Go listen to Michael Midnight. And we're going to go ahead and sign off for Strange Talk for the night. So good night and good luck. Thank you. Thank you.
came in the